Hello to all Cinemaster lovers. Hope you enjoy watching. Let's get started. The movie opens with two cars racing down a street. One is chasing the other, trying to force a woman to stop. It seems the people in the second car want to rob her. She quickly pulls over and masked men rush up with guns yelling at her to get out or they'll shoot. They smash the window and nearly grab her, but a well-dressed man passing by steps in and tells them to stop. The men recognize him and say his name, Randall Thompson. They act familiar, though Randall doesn't know them. He tries to calm things down, but the woman suddenly bolts from the car. One of them shoots her in the leg, and Randall jumps in to protect her. The men turn their guns on him and shoot. Randall falls to the ground. The group argues, shocked by how bad things went. One guy panics, but the shooter fires again, killing Randall. While checking his pockets, they find a police badge and take it before running off. Across the street, a store owner sees it all and calls the police. Soon, there's a funeral for Randall. He was respected for his military background and skills as a mercenary. His daughter Anya attends with her teacher Kara. They mourned deeply. Later, Randall's brother Carl arrives, surprising Anya. She has no other family, so his presence brings comfort. Anya introduces Carl to Kara, who welcomes him kindly. It seems Carl is here to stay. Walking home with Anya, Carl learns more about the area. She says it's dangerous and her dad always stood up to gangs. She explains he was only shopping when he ran into the robbers. Upset, Anya tells Carl that Randall always wanted him to visit, but he never did. She asks if he's going to leave again. Carl promises he's staying now. Later, while near the school, Carl sees a group of boys bothering a woman. He checks if she's okay, but she leaves without saying anything. The same boys then follow Carl, trying to scare him. They claim they run the area and insult him. Carl stays calm and asks if they're threatening him. A police car shows up and scares them off, but once the cops leave, they return and fire shots at Carl. Carl dodges the bullets and the group speeds away. Later, he meets his old friend Joey in a quiet spot. Joey once worked with Shale, the original substitute teacher, who now lives in New York. Carl asks for help finding his brother's killer and whether the gang was involved. Joey agrees, even before Carl offers money. That night, Carl and Joey meet at a bar to plan. Joey says the store owner who witnessed the murder won't talk. He's likely scared. Carl asks if he saw the shooter. Joey says yes, and the killer is a student from Lantro High School and part of a gang called the Brotherhood. They wear hoodies backward with eye holes. The store owner swears they were high schoolers. Joey says they need to act fast. The next day, Carl visits Kara and brings her a drink. She's happy to see him. He asks who'll take over Randall's teaching position. Kara says the school is hiring a substitute for the most violent class. Carl says he's interested. He's trained people in self-defense. Kara hesitates but tells him to get certified, and she'll help him apply. The next day, Anya returns to school for the first time since her father's death. She reunites with her best friend, Danny. Meanwhile, Carl arrives at the school looking for the registrar. He meets mechanic teacher Warren Drummond, who helps him. On the way, Warren asks if Carl is the new sub for the troubled class. Danny walks by and thanks Warren, though it feels strange. In the special section, Carl sees the students look more like gang members than students. After getting a pass, he heads to his room but gets lost. A janitor helps with directions. When Carl enters the classroom, it's pure chaos. Students are partying, drinking soda, dancing, and flirting. No learning is happening. He tries to introduce himself, but no one cares. One student, Dante, tells them to lower the music. The student does, but complains. Carl notices a kid with soda and jokingly asks if he brought enough for everyone. The student replies with an attitude and the class laughs. Carl tells them he's their new sub. He notices a kid with a broken arm and asks what happened. The boy says it was from basketball. Dante jokes that teaching is just as tough. Carl replies, "Not if the lesson plan is strong," then pulls out a yo-yo and asks if they know what it is. He explains that 400 years ago in the Philippines, it was used as a weapon. Then he hurls the yo-yo and smashes the soda bottle. He asks what they learned, then tells them not to judge people by looks. Also, if someone brings soda, they better share. The room grows quiet. Many students eye Carl, already planning to test him later. At lunch, a few mock him not knowing Joey is nearby filming. At the staff room, Carl meets other teachers. They seem tired and fed up. One jokes asking how Carl is surviving. Carl says the kids act tough, but he's not sure they're tough enough. Another teacher reminds him Randall thought the same. Look where that got him. Warren walks in and cuts in, saying, "If fish can learn to swim, why give up on these kids?" Though Warren seems arrogant, he invites Carl for a walk. As they chat, Warren questions why Carl chose that class. He hints Carl should have picked calmer students, possibly trying to scare him off. Kara walks up and jokingly asks Warren if he'll introduce her to the new teacher, pretending they haven't met. Elsewhere, Anya runs into Dennis, who's driving a Mustang. She compliments it, and asks how he can afford it. He avoids the question and offers her a ride. She agrees. Across the street, Carl and Joel are following students they suspect are in the Brotherhood, the ones who killed Randall. They follow them to an abandoned factory. Inside, the gang is torturing someone, the store owner who witnessed the murder. Carl and Joel sneak in unnoticed and see the man hanging by his arms being beaten. Joel asks if he should jump in. Carl nods. The gang leader demands to know why the man told people they killed the teacher, especially that they're students. Crying, the man begs for mercy and says he called the police. The gang hits him more. Meanwhile, Carl sets up a device to help. Joel walks in, unarmed, and warns the gang to let the man go or face the consequences. To prove his point, Carl shoots one or two gang members in the leg. Joel then points his gun at the leader, saying the next bullet will hit his chest. It's your move. Realizing things are serious, the gang leader agrees to free the man. He quickly unties him, and Joel helps him out. Joel tells them not to move until the red laser dots are gone, or they'll be shot. The gang freezes while Joel walks out confidently. At home, Anya and Dennis are in her room, kissing. They like each other, but Anya doesn't want to go too far. When Dennis asks why, she jokes to avoid answering. Suddenly, Carl shows up. Anya panics and tells Dennis to sneak out before he's seen. She heads downstairs to greet Carl, who jokes about teaching yo-yo history at school. Anya laughs. Before leaving, Carl says he understands what teens go through. That night, some students from the special class planned a car robbery. Mace, the boy with the radio, gets out of a friend's car and breaks into another. The alarm goes off, but his friend silences it. They drive off casually. Joel watches them from the shadows. Elsewhere, Carl is spending the evening with Kara. They're drinking and talking. She asks about his past, and Carl shares a little. He says Randall was not just his brother, but also his partner, and that Randall used to be a mercenary. When Kara asks why Carl is now a teacher, he explains Randall inspired him to make a difference. Suddenly, Carl gets a call from Joel, who tells him what just happened. Joel says he set up a bait car, and Dante and Mace took it. He asks Carl to guess where the car ended up. Carl quickly agrees to meet. Carl thanks Kara and leaves, though she clearly wishes he would stay longer. When Carl and Joel meet, Joel shows him where the stolen car was taken. Carl wants to act fast, but Joel advises patience, saying the next day will be even more important. He then plays Carl a recording of the gang talking about their plan to take Carl down. The next day, Carl shows up to school like nothing is wrong. Dante greets him sarcastically, calling him the man with the lesson plans. Carl just smiles and starts teaching. One student with a broken arm pretends to feel sick and asks to go to the bathroom. He actually sneaks off to let gang members in through the back door. In the classroom, Mace is playing music loudly on his radio and ignoring Carl. After several warnings, Carl decides to teach a lesson. He tells the class that if he lets Mace keep playing music while he wants to teach, nobody wins. That's called a deadlock. Carl then throws Mace's radio out the window. The whole class suddenly goes quiet. Mace gets angry and pulls out a knife, showing off his skills. But Carl easily disarms him and takes the knife. Carl explains he's not trying to embarrass anyone. He just wants the class to understand that he's in charge and wants to help them. He then mentions that Keyshawn, the student who left for the bathroom, hasn't come back. So Carl decides to go check. In the boys' bathroom, Carl calls out for Keyshawn and starts looking around. Suddenly, gang members appear behind him. But thanks to Joel's warning, Carl is ready. He uses his skills to take them down one by one. Back in class, Keyshawn hears the commotion and runs in excitedly. He tells the others that Carl is probably getting beaten up, but Mace doesn't join in. He's still thinking about what Carl said. In the bathroom, Carl continues the fight, using all his training. He pins one of the gang members down and demands to know if he's the one who killed Randall Thompson. Just as the fight ends, Carl calmly fixes his tie and puts his watch back on. Suddenly, the janitor he met earlier walks in and compliments Carl's fighting skills. The janitor introduces himself as Jonathan Barty. He says he's never seen a teacher fight like that, and recognizes Carl's moves as those used by the Green Berets. Jonathan explains that he served in the 1st Battalion in 1971 and 1972, and he's sure the attackers weren't real students. Someone must have let them in. He also tells Carl he's clearly more than just a high school teacher. 4630 to 4636. Jonathan offers to handle the situation and tells Carl to return to class. He also asks Carl to meet him in the basement later. Back in class, Carl enters as if nothing happened and sees Keyshawn being the center of attention. He checks if Keyshawn is okay, but the other students give him skeptical looks for lying. Oh yes, I believe we were discussing force versus compromise. When class ends, Carl asks Mace to stay behind. He asks if the radio was expensive, and Mace says, just a little. Carl says he believes Mace can turn his life around. But Mace gets angry and asks how Carl could possibly know anything about his life. He shares that his dad is in prison, his brother was killed, and he doesn't even know where his mom is. He says the gang is all he has. Carl listens quietly and tells him he still has the power to choose a different path. Mace, upset, gives the yo-yo Carl gave him back and walks away. Later, Keyshawn and his friends return to the bathroom to see the aftermath, but everything has already been cleaned up. Keyshawn insists that Carl fought the gang, but his friends don't believe him. Later on, Carl meets Jonathan in the basement. Jonathan shows him where he lives and reveals a private collection of items from his time in the military. Carl is impressed by Jonathan's dedication and respect for his service. During their talk, Carl opens up and says he's trying to find the person who killed his brother Randall. They share a soda as Jonathan mentions hearing strange noises at night. He says people come and go when they shouldn't, but every time he checks, no one's there. Carl suggests they investigate together with another ally. Later that day, Anya is walking home when she's stopped by members of the Brotherhood gang. They threaten her, saying she needs to stop Carl from digging into their business. They tell her to pretend the conversation never happened and leave her scared in the street. That night, she tells Carl. He tells her to stay home for the next few days. She doesn't like it, but she agrees. That night, Carl, Joel, and Jonathan meet at the school to investigate the noises. They decide to check the garage quietly, and Jonathan leads them through a secret passage. Carl goes ahead and discovers Warren and some students working on cars. It's clear they're involved in illegal activities. Carl returns and tells the others that Warren is running a chop shop. They figure out Warren is breaking down 3 or 4 cars a week and selling the parts below market price. They guess he makes over $100,000 every month. Meanwhile, Warren gets a call from Dante. He says the police found one of their stolen cars and there was a chase. And Mace is dead. Warren shows no emotion about Mace's death. The next morning, Carl gathers the students and sees them grieving. Except for Dante. He says Mace took a risk and faced the consequences. Carl disagrees. He says school isn't a battlefield and no student should die. Dante responds that the real world is a battlefield and people like him have to fight for everything. No one gives them anything for free like Carl might have had. Dante says the police killed Mace, not him. But Carl suspects Dante had a role in Randall's death, though Dante doesn't realize that. After school, Carl visits Kara and asks what kind of person Warren really is. Kara says Warren is well-liked at school, but outside he's cold and controlling. She admits he once tried to date her, but she turned him down because of his possessive nature. The next day during school break, Carl approaches Kara and quietly asks her to look into Warren's background and past jobs. While they talk, Warren watches them from a distance, looking suspicious. Later that day when Carl is at home with Joey, Kara calls. She says she found something online and asks Carl to come over. Carl tells her he and Joey are on their way. Before they leave, they remind Anya not to open the door for anyone. But at Kara's house, someone knocks shortly after. She opens the door and is surprised to see Warren holding food. He says he was just in the neighborhood. Kara doesn't feel safe, so she hides the file she was planning to give Carl. Warren keeps talking, pretending he just wants to be friendly. Meanwhile, Anya secretly leaves the house to visit Danny. He welcomes her in, and they hang out in his room. Danny tries to get close, even though Anya doesn't want. When he steps into the bathroom, she looks around and finds her father's police badge in Danny's drawer. Surprised and scared, she searches more and discovers the Brotherhood gang outfit in his closet. She quickly gets dressed to leave, but Danny comes back into the room. Anya confronts him and asks if he killed her father. Danny tries to explain, saying her dad was messing with the Brotherhood's money. As their argument heats up, Danny grabs a knife, but Anya knows karate. She kicks him hard and breaks a glass over his head. Danny tries to grab her again, but she escapes. Back at Kara's place, Warren suddenly attacks her. He throws her across the room, showing his real violent side. He accuses her of working against him and punches her several times. He wants to know what Carl is really up to. Finally, Kara tells him that Carl is Randall's brother. She tries to run upstairs, but Warren chases her down and hits her again and again. Then he shoots her, killing her instantly. After that, Warren tells his men to kill Carl and not to take any other orders. As he leaves the building, he spots Carl and Joey arriving. Warren hides, waiting for the right moment. Luckily, Carl and Joey don't see him. Inside, Carl is devastated to find Kara dead. He also finds the file she was going to show him. It says that Warren was a former United States Marine Corps agent. He was discharged with honor, but under special circumstances. He was suspected of doing illegal missions in Honduras in 1986. He denied everything, and later received honors in 1987. At home, Anya tells Carl what she found out. She says Danny is the one who set her up and that he's the killer. Danny said he only did it to prove to Warren that he was important. That night, Carl grabs his weapon, ready to finish everything. Joey picks him up, and they drive to the high school. Joey says he counted 2 full cars of gang members and asks Carl if he's ready. The gang arrives shortly after. They enter the school, armed with guns and rifles, planning to take down the substitute teacher. Carl and Joey meet up with Jonathan, who opens the gate for them. But the gang is already on their tail, and a gunfight breaks out. The school turns into a war zone. Several gang members get badly hurt, but Carl, Joey, and Jonathan remain safe. They move into another room and shut the door behind them. Joey reveals he's been shot, and it feels like they're trapped. Carl looks around and sees a gas tank. He quickly comes up with a plan. He puts the tank near the door, and when the gang starts shooting again, the tank explodes, pushing them back down the hallway. This gives the trio a chance to escape. Jonathan leads them through a tunnel to a hidden room where he keeps old weapons. They reload and prepare for the next attack. The gang keeps coming, but now they're losing more people. After a long and tiring shootout, Jonathan throws smoke bombs. Just then, the gang leader appears. As the smoke clears, Carl grabs the boss, while Joey and Jonathan hold off the others. In the confusion, the gang accidentally shoots their own boss. In another room, Carl confronts the wounded boss, who admits that Warren Drummond, the mechanic teacher, is the man behind it all. Carl wastes no time and heads straight to Warren's classroom. He interrupts class and demands Warren admit he killed Kara. He also mentions that Kara's final note exposes the truth about him. Warren, shocked and nervous, tries to deny everything. Instead of admitting the truth, Warren tells the students about Carl's past as a mercenary. Then he tries to open a suitcase to pull out a gun. But Carl is ready and stops him before he can use it. A brutal fight starts. Both men are trained and dangerous. Warren grabs a fire emitter, but Carl knocks it out of his hands after several tries and kicks him in the face. Warren fights back, but Carl grabs a light bulb and presses it into Warren's eye, badly damaging it. The students watch, unsure who to support. Warren won't give up and keeps fighting. Carl slams him to the ground over and over. Meanwhile, Anya watches from upstairs and rushes down to help her uncle. The fight continues, both men using all their skills. At one point, Warren grabs a screwdriver and stabs Carl in the arm. Carl, in pain, still hits back hard. The students watch closely, wondering if Carl has been fatally stabbed, but he gets up. Finally, Carl stabs Warren in the stomach, ending his life. Everyone watches silently. No one seems to mourn Warren. After a short moment of silence, Anya and Joey surround Carl and thank him for everything he's done. Jonathan claps and tells the students to head back to class. The show is over. As everyone walks away, Dante shows kindness for the first time. He tells Carl that he looks like he could use a doctor and a vacation. In the end, everything seems settled. Carl thanks Joey for being there through it all. Sometime later, Carl and Anya visit Randall's grave. They leave flowers and Randall's badge. Anya tells Carl she's keeping the house and invites him to stay. But Carl says he's proud of her and that he has to leave. They share a warm hug and the movie ends. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification button so you never miss an updates.